Well guys, it's sure acting a lot more spring-like. That bee's flying. It's time to get in and do some inspections. Got one here that got knocked around when it got moved. Looks like it's bent the U-clip on there. Need to get it back in order. Trying to get the sugar feeders off of them so I can start feeding them syrup. So that's a little bit of a process. I need to take them off and lean them against the boxes and let the bees that are in them get out and get back in the box before I pick them up. So it takes a little bit of time, but it sure feels a lot more spring-like. I don't know if it has anything to do with the haircut. There are those that believe spring wouldn't get here if I didn't get it cut, and we wouldn't get winter if I didn't grow it. So anyway, I got it cut and here's spring, so you make your own decisions. I'm gonna go ahead and get my veil over the top of me and dig in here and see what we can find. Give you guys a decent angle maybe, so you can keep the camera from falling over. See if the smoker's still going. Trying to. They're bringing pollen in. They've got a number of fruit trees here blooming, like cherries are blooming, pears are opening up, Gravenstein apples opening. We also have big leaf maple along the creeks that's blooming. So as long as they get fly weather, they can get out and capitalize on that. So here's the sugar feeder, and these burlap sacks are wet, though they've done what they're supposed to do. And you can see the bees are up in here eating it. Different colonies, some colonies have eaten all of their sugar, some colonies have only eaten a little bit of it, but they're up in here working it, and it's definitely kept them warmer than they would have been without it. I like them. Don't know if I can do them if I got 1,000 colonies, but I don't have 1,000 colonies, so I'm going to do what I can with them. So I found some of these colonies coming back that are super strong. I've had to pull some frames out of some of them, and some of them are just barely making it, and some of them are really small. So these guys have been eating on their pollen. But here they got a number of frames in this upper box they're not on, but they could be downstairs too. I've had a number of them that were up and down. They didn't look strong on top, but they had brood down below. Here they're actually drawing some comb out on this frame. Some of my weaker colonies, I'm seeing just a little bit of chalk brood in them. Scattered pattern like they get with chalk brood, but they've been down where it's warmer, and they don't have it so bad. Now they're up here where it's wet. I'm expecting it to come on. So those I actually have some thymol treatment I'm going to put on them, because it's supposed to help with the chalk brood, and that's why some of these are going to be smaller. I mean, here we got kind of a shotgun pattern. She's got everything laid back up again, but it's not in a good pattern or order like we'd like to see it. And that happens when they're getting some chalk brood, and then they're tearing them out, and she comes back and relays it. We get that weird pattern, and the problem is once you clear up the chalk brood, she'll still maintain that pattern, because that's how they're emerging. You know, and here again, she's got a nice sheet of brood laid, but there's holes all over in it. I'm not seeing any chalk brood showing right now, but there it is. And there's the very first deformed wing I've found, is right there on that one, and all the other colonies that I've gone through haven't had any. I don't know if the camera can show that, but look at her wings are bad. I don't see a varroa on her, but I want to get her out of there. I really kind of thought I'd see a little more of it than I've seen. That's the very first one I've seen with any. And remember, varroa was in existence in our colonies, or deformed wing virus was in our colonies before Varroa. It's something that's been here. We use it as a sign now for Varroa because they spread it so much. But even without any Varroa in your colony, you can still end up with some deformed wing virus. But a colony can live with the amount that they get if it's not being spread by Varroa. So here again, most of these that aren't capped have, you know, pretty good sized larvae in them. They'll be capped before too long. So we've got quite a few nice frames here with good brood happening. That's a good sign. They didn't eat all their syrup, which is another sign of some illness. If they're sick, they just don't eat as much. And then it was quite a while ago that I went down and fed them, so once they don't eat enough of it, it starts to go bad, then they don't want it at all. So here's a nice pollen frame with some drone brood, capped drone brood on it. Honey on the backside still. So this colony came through pretty well. I see bees down below, so we'll go down there, see if that's where the queen is and how much brood she has down there. So here we got, you know, 5-6 frames of bees up on top, which is not as strong as I want them to be coming back from California. But if they're down in the bottom, then that's good, yeah. And there we can see it. I don't know if you guys can see some of that. Yeah, you can see down in there. So we've got, you know, another 5-6 frames under them. They're working up and down. So that's a pretty good box of bees then. They just haven't spread out sideways. And we'll get in here and make sure that they're going all the way down, those frames, and not just at the very tops of them. But first I need to fix this box. There, get that back locked in. These strips out. Well, some of these that I'm going to put some thymol treatment on are, you know, of course, my smaller and weaker ones. And I will pull those oxalic strips off of them and give them the thymol treatment, and then put fresh strips back on once that's thymol's completed. But I'd like to really see this spring if it'll help control that chalk brood that I get. Some of the colonies that get the chalk brood, they're barely alive through the spring. In January, they're 17, 18 frames of bees. So once they get over it, they do great. But springtime, they're just struggling and suffering. All right, we're seeing some food down here right now. There's a pollen frame, so we should be about to hit some brood. The girl's still up here in my way. The boxes haven't been gone through a lot for a while, so they're all stuck together. And here we're getting a little better pattern with quite a bit of capped. So that looks nice. You can see open brood on that frame, mostly capped, but means the queen's working up and down. That's good. He's got some open brood in it. I haven't seen the queen pop out at me yet. A couple of these have requeened, probably while they were down there. And it's one of the reasons that I like to have my queens marked, so I can tell when I see one that's not marked that she wasn't the one that was here last time I was here. And then I know what they're doing. I don't have a problem with them requeening. They do it successfully, but I want to know what's happening. So, all right, so I mean, there's a good solid 4 frames with bees working them there, and 6 up above, so that's 10 frames of bees in here. They're in the right size box. There's room to grow. They're not ready to start swarming yet. Or some of these that were larger, I actually had one charged swarm cell that I found and tore out, and then I pulled 3 frames of capped brood off of them and put it in a weaker colony, just to keep them from swarming for a little bit longer. But anyhow, we'll get these girls put back together. We got to make another round of the oxalic strips. I think I'm going to put their pollen sub down in the middle too, so they can use it top and bottom. I should try to get that feeder out and empty it. Should have done that while I had the frames out. Some of these old beat up feeders that I've got, they get stuck inside under the lip of the frames, and or can be a real booger to get out of there. This one looks like it's going to come right out.